No.
Oh, there we go. So we're live. Okay, welcome to Bucketsblog. This is our second ever podcast now, and for this debate, we're going to talk about. We're going to do a little playoff preview, and we're going to talk about each of the playoff matchups.
We also have a new guest.
We do have a new guest. I've got my name's David Angelini. First of all, I've got Gavin Callender.
Hi, I'm back.
I've got Ryan Dock.
Hello.
And we've got Matthew O'Donnell here for the playoff preview as well.
Hi there, glad I can make it.
Yeah.
Finally.
I'm glad you can make it as well. This is the Thursday night edition of the podcast, which is a 2-drink minimum. Matthew's brought us some wine from work as well, so
Which he still hasn't actually drank two of.
Get this box.
But for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at each of the playoff matchups. There's 8 brackets in the first round of the playoffs. We're going to give a brief overview of the style of the teams, give a brief overview of what you think in terms of where the advantages are for each team, have a look at some key matchups, and then make a prediction about who's going to win it and what the game split's going to be. So we'll start off with what's probably in the Eastern Conference, because it is the least competitive. There's some of these brackets that, by the way, that there's not a lot you can say about it, unfortunately. In the East more so than the West. So the first one we'll talk about is the Cavaliers versus the Celtics. And the first thing I want to say about it is that the Celtics shouldn't really be in the playoffs here. They're a really, really bad team. Brad Stevens has managed to drag them kicking and screaming, and Isaiah Thomas as well has managed to drag them into 7th seed. I don't know if it gets worse every year, but it certainly is consistently bad in the East every year, where teams that are, right up to 4th seed, you get teams that are hovering around 500.
Well, 6.
Six. No, top 5 are good. Top 5 are good.
They're maybe above 500, but they're still hovering around 500 right up to 4th seed.
Look, the big thing is with the Celtics is the Celtics didn't have anything. Brad Stevens wasn't doing anything at all. They were sort of cutting about that sort of Brooklyn, Indiana level. But I think it's more of a travesty that Brooklyn made it to the playoffs than it is that the Celtics. Indiana are a better team than Brooklyn, but I think the Celtics making it.
I think it's a real
Celtics will be interesting against the Cavs. The Celtics will be interesting.
I think it's a real shame that the Pacers missed it and the Oklahoma City Thunder missed it. I think there are 2 potential big 8 seeds that could have actually caused a little bit of an upset in the brackets in the first round series.
Had OKC been at full strength, it would have been the most demonic 8 seed in the history of the NBA.
Without KD, they're not for it.
I don't think.
No. Without KD and Ibaka, they're not a threat.
Oh yeah.
Without KD, with Russell Westbrook and Serge Ibaka playing,
They're
still a threat. I think they can still mess teams up.
Let's just get away from the KC loving that I hate to be a part of, because let's face it, I'm not a big fan of the KC here. Let's go on with my Cavs.
Let's talk about how the Heat
the Celtics.
How much are you shouting on the mic, by the way?
We'll talk about the Cavs. In terms of the Celtics managed to squeak in, the Cavs, I'm not going to argue that they're as hot as everyone else thinks they are. I don't think they're not my pick to win the East personally. But there's a lot of chat around the whole basketball community that they are going to.
Let's focus on the first round and then we'll get into that.
I just want him to know that Gav's held his hand up for I-5 for about 30 seconds now, and yeah, we go.
I didn't see it. I was looking at it.
I'm going to hold my hand up probably to hit Dave's face, but that's beyond the point.
But so we've got the Cavs. Where can the Cavs? They've been pretty good since LeBron took his little 2-week break, which, by the way, no megastars ever done.
It was a coaching break. It was a coaching break where he had to go, here, David, I run the show, not you. You sit back down. You applaud when I do anything.
Doc, look, here's the thing, right? You can't say that. Like, I'm sorry. I've never seen Kobe Bryant say, do you know what, I'm going to take 2 weeks off. No, he doesn't do it. Yeah. Michael Jordan in his prime, no.
They've been
How many injuries has LeBron had that he's been out for?
Less than Kobe? Miles less than Kobe. Do you know what Kobe just... No.
This isn't what we're talking.
How did we get to Kobe Bryant? And I thought
the fact of the matter is, Kobe's not so much more durable than LeBron, but Kobe's more willing to play through injuries than LeBron. And as good as a player as LeBron is,
it's a debate for a different time.
Yeah,
we will play those two off against each other because that's a debate I certainly want to be a part of. I certainly want to have that argument.
But yeah, they're not invincible.
I don't think the Cavs are invincible. I think Celtics should get a game off them in this, but I think they're going to get swept or it's going to get one game.
Coming straight from Cavs fan, LeBron fan, I think the Cavs are going to drop a game, mainly because I think they're going to give their bench one whole game just to see what they've got. And to give them a better playoff experience. It didn't work. But then again, neither did the whole team against Celtics near the end of the season, and that was because they limited some minutes. But still, I think it's going to be 4-1 Cavs.
I think they'll drop a game, not because they'll intentionally throw a game, but because there's a lot of inexperience in that team.
Yeah, I think they'll drop game 1 or 2. I think it'll be 1 or 2. It will depend. Is it going 2-2-1? 2-2-2-1.
2-2-1.
2-2-1. I think it'll probably be the first 2 or game 3.
Yeah, I think maybe the first game in Boston.
The second game in Cleveland will be the first game in Boston because I think is it TD Garden? Boston? TD Garden?
Yeah.
I think the Garden's still one of the ultimate places to go to. They'll get a lot of crazy fans, and I think that team might be really young. They're
just not a defensive team though. See, in terms of individual matchups, inexperienced players, they've got a lot of them, and then you get Shumpert, who he does have a bit of playoff experience, but he's not getting experience of winning a game.
No.
Tristan Thompson, Kyrie Irving, Kevin
J.R. Smith though.
J.R. Smith, boy,
he's a bit of a gunner. But what happens if they get into a bit of a tight game down the stretch and then
you can't play him? You can't play him.
Would you ask him?
No, you can't play him. You keep him the best. However, they do have Mike Miller, they do James Jones.
They've got championship.
That's the replacement for J.R. Smith though. You put in James Jones, you put in Mike Miller, you put in players that you know he can control, and people know that they know what to do.
Sean Marion will feature more throughout the playoffs than he has in the regular season. Sean Marion he's still a class act because he's still got that whole chase down mentality for the block shot. He's still got that whole stay in front of the guy. I mean, how many guys in the league actually get the same skill set as Sean Marion, despite the fact he's 104 years old? Do you know what I mean?
There's an experience there though. I think Kyrie will be fine. I don't think that
Kevin Love's not.
I think
Kevin Love is a shaky nail here. I don't know how they utilise him. I don't know what they're going to do with him in the playoffs because they certainly haven't utilised him so far this season. He's been sat out a lot of fourth quarters.
And it's not going to matter. And that's right.
Not in this round.
The rules it's going to matter.
When we get down the line, it will really matter what they do. But
even Atlanta will matter.
If I'm the Cavs, I'm looking at this series and I'm thinking we need to get Kevin Love going here right from the start because this is how you get him going from the start of the playoffs.
And you play him in the post. Well, that's the thing because
you play him somewhere, you give him the ball, you factor him into the offense because it's not happened so far this season.
From my point of view, Kevin Love's a post player who steps out and can hit a three.
Yeah.
See the fact that people are going about saying that Kevin Love's a really good stretch forward. He's not. The rebounds show it because he's in about the mix. His judgment in terms of rebounding, like the fact that he's been the best rebounder in the league before, and the fact that he's that 30-30 game, that's not an accident. The fact that he's done that is due to the fact that he goes inside, he bangs, he bumps, he does that. It's not like he's standing outside just waiting to rebound currently. That's when you need him. You need him in there at his most effective. He's a shocking post defender. Yeah. Like for a guy who has talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very lopsided.
But
hugely talented.
That's because of the situation he was coming from. In Minnesota, he did not need to be a post defender when you've got Peck. So
Peck's a shocking post
defender. That was a horrifying
he was the worst interior defence in the entire league.
He's a big body though.
Hence the reason they've had to bring in Moscow, who's not that good an interior defender himself. Like he's just a big body.
He's a big body that creates a lot of fouls.
I think he was a good pickup though.
There was better pickups they could have got.
Which they didn't.
LeBron did not do as well as he could have.
That's something I forgot to mention actually. Like in terms of when we're talking about LeBron James and the MVP race, they didn't get good because of LeBron James the player. They got good because of LeBron James the GM.
Yep.
That's beside the point. You're looking at the Celtics starting 5. They've got matchup nightmares all over this.
Tyler Zeller versus. Well, Tyler Zeller's okay, he's a centre, but they'll put Tyler
Evan
Zeller.
Turner, Marcus Smart is very, very young.
Marcus Smart will cause KD nightmares, by the way.
That's cool.
Because he's going to bump.
Cannot stop him.
That's what I say.
Cannot stop him.
When it comes down to it, I think there's going to be one game that's going to be basically a bar fight. It's going to be Marcus Smart's going to irritate Kyrie. You have Jared Saunders, you have Keller. Just hard.
Is Jared Saunders back from injury?
Yeah, no, he's not. I don't think.
He's not.
My
Jared's
point is, we set a bar fight, and the governors for the Cavaliers are going to stop being hot, and that's the point where coaching takes over. And Brad Stevens is better than Dave. But I don't think I can say that out loud.
I'd love to see.
I don't think aliens.
I don't think so. So that's what I think. Definitely, they're going to steal one game. Because I think there's going to be a bar fight at some point, and that's where the game goes.
I would love this. I'd love this series, a couple of games to go 88, 89. Sort of Pistons, Bulls, sort of see here, Pistons, Lakers, sort of see.
I want to see how the Cavs react to that.
I don't think they'll react well. I genuinely don't
LeBron
think.
James has never.
No, he can't deal with it. I mean, that's the thing. See if you rough him up. Like, remember 2000. What year was it? Dallas 2011.
Yeah.
Dallas won it, and Jason Terry goes to the bench. He's like that. They're taking the piss out of us essentially. And Dallas came out right up for it, and they started buying. Tyson Chandler was knocking the 7 shades out of Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
And they can't deal with it.
The Bulls have always shown that, like, if you and the Pacers at one point as well, showing if you're physical with them, they don't like it. And the Heat didn't like it. LeBron James in particular doesn't like it. There's just nothing on this Celtics team though that causes many problems. Isaiah's going to be creative off the bench, but who cares? You know,
maybe one.
Yeah, I think we're also going to be one game probably. Just because of circumstances. I think something's going to happen.
So the next bracket we've got Chicago versus Milwaukee. Which will probably be a bit more interesting. I can't see past Chicago. Chicago are my pick to come out of the East. I can't see past Chicago in this series, but I think it'll be a closer. I think for me this is about 4-2. I think they'll maybe take 1 or 2 games off them. Milwaukee become actually. I've always seen them in previous years as just a collection of talented guys. This is the first time they actually look like a team.
I still don't think they're relevant in the East though. They're not at that stage of being Milwaukee. They're not relevant.
Well, I mean, I think, and I'm hoping that it's Matt that I've spoken to you before. I hope Matt agrees with me. Giannis.
He's alright. No, the Greek freak, yeah.
Chris Middleton.
It's a decent roster.
Michael Carter.
It's always been a good roster.
It's a very strange collection of players.
These guys are really, really tall for a position. Really, really long for a possession.
They can switch. Basically, every possession they can switch.
They've got 3 guys who can play point guard, who are all capable of playing small forward. Like Michael Carter could play small forward in terms of height-wise.
Height-wise, he's very slight.
He's very slight. But so is Giannis. Giannis is what, 7'10",
we're talking specific matchups. That's going to be Mike Dunleavy or
Mike Dunleavy's going to be a nightmare.
Or Doug McDermott.
Mirotic.
No, Doug McDermott's injured anyway. He's out for the season.
Are they possibly putting Mirotic in there?
Mirotic's a good feel. Look, I'll be honest. Mirotic is a better. Mirotic as a 3 would play for Milwaukee.
I can see them throwing them at Giannis because of the size of him.
Yeah. Giannis is special though. Giannis is one of those guys who's like kind of freaky nature, but he's there because of his physical size and athletic ability. I think Chicago. I said 4-2.
I'll go.
I said 4-2 as well.
I don't see how they can compete with the Bulls in the interior. When we're talking about, they play a good team defense.
I think Michael Carter-Williams is going to cause Derrick Rose a lot of problems.
Well, because Derrick Rose can't really move laterally in the same way that we've seen him in the past.
Yeah, I'm not really counting much on Derrick Rose. I think it's going to be 4-1. I think Chicago's too good in the interior. Maybe 4-2. I could see it happening.
If Carter-Williams developed that Sean Livingston shot we were talking about earlier on.
The little corkscrew jumper.
Little high post, I'm just a foot tall.
Michael Carter-Williams is exactly the same. I think the issue that Chicago might have is when they've got Pau Gasol and Ersan Ilyasova's on the floor.
Because
Ilyasova will just take him out to the line and he'll shoot, and Pau Gasol's not going to be quick enough to get out to the.
They'll need to overplay him, which leaves them vulnerable in the interior. I think they're just a good defensive team though to cover that, to help and plug the gap. Quicker than they can take advantage of it.
I've got a sneaky suspicion that Chicago have got another couple of injuries coming ahead.
And
that is primarily
because
Derrick Rose is back. I think
I think Derrick Rose is going to get injured again. But
I think he's going to be babied for the first couple of rounds.
No, I think someone else is going to get injured. I think Joakim Noah will get injured.
I hope not, because that's the only match I'm interested in seeing. It's in the semis, Chicago versus Cavs.
Yeah,
I would take. That's what I really want to see.
Right, I want to see that.
At full strength, that's what I want to see.
I don't want to see any injuries either. I think they've had injuries every year. It's just been really, really depressing.
I'll just talk about that's if Derrick Rose shows the MVP following.
But he's not going to show it. He's never going to do it.
You are going to see Kirk Heinrich win MVP before you see Derrick Rose as MVP caliber.
No,
I would actually quite enjoy that.
Kirk Heinrich won MVP, fair enough. Remember that 2K11 glitch, NBA 2K11, where there was a glitch where Steve Blake, if you got the glitch in the patch, then Steve Blake would win MVP for the next 4 years, like shooting 34 points a game, 14 rebounds and 17 assists. Well, actually, that was just startling.
Yeah.
But
I think that this Derrick Rose, he's not going to be the MVP Derrick Rose ever again, but I think he can do enough to. They had the benefit of they waited for it was basically all season to get healthy, and then he got his meniscus tear again, and I think that was more of a cathartic experience for the Greater Bulls team, because it was like, oh no, we can't actually rely on Derrick Rose anymore. We need to just break loose and all pull together and get ourselves there in a different way. And I think that was good because people like Tony Snell started playing. People like
Tony Snell's been really good.
Mirotic kind of came through at that point as well, and people started to step up and play. That's benefited them. I really hope this is the first time I've seen Derrick Rose speaking so positively about his ability in about 3 years. So I think hopefully now that he's finally playing without the psychological burden of those injuries on his mind, that he can come out and his teammates have kind of stepped the game up, that they can come out and he doesn't actually have to be that MVP again, but they can still go far in the playoffs. And I think they can beat the Cavs without Derrick Rose being that MVP, because they'll play together and they'll play good defense.
He's going to end up with some ridiculous injury though. I think that he'll think he can take off, and he'll think that his landing's fine because he's knee.
I think his problem.
I think what will happen is he'll shit out the landing like dislocate his shoulder.
I think that's been the problem. The reason why he keeps re-injuring it is because he's being that apprehensive about it. He's not, he's not going all out on his.
Look how Russell Westbrook does it.
Yeah, but
he's still got a mental injury.
Yeah,
he's physically fine.
He tries to overcompensate for it, and he ends up hurting himself in different ways, and that's what's causing a problem for him. If we take the past, how many games? Is it 5 games he played before? Like after that season up until now, after the injury, up until now, and he's looked good. He's looked more, I won't say explosive, but get a pretty nifty dunk in that game against the Heat. They came back. He played really, really well. He's been shooting well since. He's just playing a little bit more like. I'm not saying he's the MVP of 2011 again, but he's played a bit more
Derrick Rose-ish,
a bit more recklessly, and I think that will benefit him, because when he's scared to come down and he's overcompensating onto one leg or the other, that's when he's causing himself problems.
You notice the two guys who, obviously Paul George was slightly different because Paul George was that horrendous leg break, right?
It wasn't a muscle injury either, it was a bone injury.
It was just he snapped his leg from the under the stanchion. But look at him, look at Russell Westbrook. The two of those guys have given right back in as soon as they started playing ball competitively again. They'll get him with reckless abandon. I mean, look at Russell Westbrook. He tears his meniscus and then as soon as that's fixed, pump out.
This is what
schedule.
Yeah. Skip was saying the meniscus tear isn't actually as serious as people made out when it was like, oh my god, Derek was injured again for the third time. Meniscus tear isn't actually that bad.
What? The thing is, like Westbrook, I think the difference between Rose and Westbrook is Westbrook's got more of a winning mentality than
Yeah.
I don't want to say Westbrook's got more of a winning mentality.
He's got Kobe brains where he can play through failure.
I just want to play. That's all I want to do. That's all I've known all my life.
And that was his
what I
window
do.
when he's been very scared about re-injuring it or making it worse. And he's thinking
He's
he's too
very
much
loose,
control
like,
for it. He's gave himself a psychological injury that's worse than what actually happened to him.
Am I going to get another $100 million should you?
What's that?
But Bills are going to win it.
I think Bills will take that 4-2 because they just again there's some interesting matchups there.
4-1?
I think 4.
No, 4-1's good enough. I had on Swell.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go 4-2 in that.
I think Jerry Butler's going to have a good season. I think Patterson's going to be. I see. No, I think.
Powell. When was the last time Powell saw an injury, by the way?
Oh, don't say that. He's had a great season.
Don't say that. He
I
was injured in his last season for the Lakers.
Yeah, that's true.
Several times. So the next matchup we've got Toronto Wizards. I think this will actually be the most interesting matchup in the East. I think I'm predicting this one to actually go pretty close. They're probably the two most closely matched teams. Underperformed compared to where you would expect them to be at this point in the season. Bill Simmons in his first Gatland episode had this, the thing where they talk about 2015 headlines, and they're just making predictions about what potential 2015 headlines would be. And one of them was the finals come to Toronto.
Yeah.
And you kind of thought, oh, actually that's quite interesting to think about that. It's not, it's not going to happen. The two of these teams, the Wizards and the Raptors, have fell away really
I think the reason
drastically.
that people keep saying they've had disappointing in terms of what they're expecting, but the Wizards just broke the season record. Is that right? For wins.
I wasn't aware of that.
I don't know if they got to it or got it, but I think they're up there with the old Bullets record, and that's why people saying they've had a really good season. Yeah, disappointing stretch, but it's a very good season.
We think. I think that. What's his face? So I'm blanking. I need to look at it. Gorta and Nene have been lazy actually, not played up to their. But maybe they're just
I think they're a little bit overrated tandem side to us.
Well, they're big.
Well,
they're stronger than what Toronto are going to throw in there actually. I think. But
that's what I was going to go to. There was a stat that go around about Valanciunas, and I can't remember exactly what the numbers were, but it's something like is a shot attempts per game. I think it's 12 shots. The number rings with. And if he gets 12 shots a game, the Raptors are 27-1. And if he's under 12 shots a game, they're 4-26. It was some stupid record like that. And I was sort of going, well, give him more shots. Really,
the DeMar DeRozan injury, I think, derailed them as well.
Yeah, I don't think that is the issue around Toronto. I think the issue around Toronto is they are a 3-point type of team that they don't utilise big men.
Well,
they don't know what to do with them. It's not that they just give him the ball, it's that they don't know what to do with him.
Yeah.
And I can't see him staying there after his contract's up. He's not staying there.
The shots I see him get are rebounds, or things are breaking down, he gets the ball. I never see any plays run for him where it's motions, sit out, and he gets the ball, and he's scoring. It's just the ball gets to and he scores.
I think he's developed beyond what the Toronto Raptors thought that he would.
Yeah.
They thought, good rebounder, can do a job in defence, we'll take him, he'll be good.
Yeah.
He's a bit more than that, and I think that's why they're not going to hold on to him, and they're going to pump for someone else.
There's some really interesting matchups in this series, conversely from the past two we've been looking at. Kyle Lowry and John Wall. That's good. I'm going to enjoy watching that actually because they're both different and they're both good.
Yeah.
The series hinges upon Bradley Beal's ability to stay healthy.
Aye.
Like, I think if Bradley Beal can stay healthy, then you're talking about a guy like the starting shooting guard for Toronto. DeMar DeRozan, as much as he's an all-star, he's great and that. When he got his all-star, he was probably less deserving than Bradley Beal was at the time. We had a discussion about that, we did.
Yeah.
And Bradley Beal didn't get it because of his age, because of how many years he'd been in the league. But I've got a serious concern about Toronto's ability, from what you were saying, Ryan, about them being a 3-point shooting team. I don't think they are. But I think they can. But your primary scorer is DeMar DeRozan, who can't shoot 3-pointers. Like, he will shoot them, but he's clunking them. Like, he's 20 something percent anyway. You get Bradley Beal, who's a 40% 3-point. You can check it.
I wasn't saying that they were a 3-point shooting team. Am I saying they're a jump shot team?
They're a jump shot team.
They're a jump shot
They
team
need to
that
run
don't.
if they're playing Washington, they need to run more sets of Valanciunas. They also need to. I mean, Kyle Lowry doesn't score as much as he should. Like Kyle Lowry's a very good player. Kyle Lowry, as much as you want him as a distributor, he shoots the ball really well. Like that's the problem. Like John Wall is the scoring force for Washington. You've also got Paul Pierce at Washington. He's getting played. This
is what they brought him in for. They brought him in just for the playoffs.
The playoff experience, like the guy's been a playoff MVP, a finals MVP. The guy's won title. I just don't think that Washington have enough to beat Toronto. Like, I genuinely don't.
I think
you mean the other round there.
No, I don't.
No, both of those guys are taking Toronto. I disagree with them. I'm going to take the Wizards in 7.
I think with Valanciunas, you've got Amir Johnson, you've got
Lou Williams coming off the bench as well. When he gets hot, we were talking this earlier. When he gets hot, he's one of the best 3-point shooters when he gets hot.
Washington's bench is non-existent.
I'll say this: I think Toronto should win, but they won't. I think they've proven all year they don't use Valanciunas correctly. They are a bit of a jump shot team at times, and that's how they're going to fail. Whereas like the Wizards. John Wall's going to have a great series, but
the Wizards had the advantage inside.
I think the way that Brad Beal speaks, I think he's got that mentality of I can beat you, and I think he's going up against Larry and he go, this is my challenge. I'm going to.
But he's too injury. Like I mean, the fact is like he's so injury prone. Like we talked about Westbrook and Rose. Like how do you determine whether or not somebody's willing to play through an injury?
I'm just saying, all things equal, people are healthy. I think from a mental point of view, he's just going to go in there thinking, I'm the best player on the court. Well, that's what I'm going to take my match up.
Starting 5 against starting 5, Washington win that series, right? 12 against 12.
Yeah, that's the team.
Bench.
For me, it all hinges on whether Gotta and Nene show up and then dominate the game. Because if they do, then Toronto don't have
Gotta's class. Like Gotta, Nene's a bit older. I can give him.
He's a body though. Like
yeah. No, but that's all he is now. Like,
He's got 10 rebounds, but not much else.
I was never about. I'm.
Let's say to 8.
If they're going to dominate the game, then Washington win it. I'm taking Wizards in 7 for me.
I take Toronto 4-2.
Toronto in 6.
7 games. I'm going to give it to the Wizards just now.
Oh yeah.
It will go 7. It will go 7 either way.
I hope it goes 7. I really hope it does. It's got the potential to be the most interesting opening round series.
I think that Kyle Lowry's a more intelligent player than John Wall.
No, moving on. Let's not be caught in that.
Okay. And the last series in the East before we take a little break, Atlanta versus Brooklyn. Again, Brooklyn shouldn't be in there. I think it should be the Pacers. It would be far more interesting. They would at least have a shot at toppling Atlanta. I don't think Brooklyn do.
Yeah. I think everyone's in the kind of same kind of agreement here. Sweep.
Yeah, Atlanta just have too much for them.
I'm going to give one.
Brooklyn's 2 best players play the same possession. No chance. And Al Horford.
I'm going to say just. I feel there's going to be a game where things break down in terms of moment. I think there's going to be a game where it's sort of who is the leader. I think this is going to be good for them though. I think they're going to lose one game where there's a sort of identity crisis where they go, who is the leader of this team? And I hope that happens. I hope they go, it's you. I hope they figure
it out. The leader of the team is Jeff Teague's the leader of the team. Like Jeff Teague last season against Indiana, Jeff Teague was the leader of that team. You had Al Horford out, you had Paul Millsap, you had...
What do you mean, your best player out?
No, but Jeff Teague's the best player on the team. Jeff Teague is the best player on the team. Jeff Teague's an all-star caliber point guard. Jeff Teague's unreal. Like Jeff Teague's... You're talking apart from John Wall, Kyle Lowry and Kyrie, and not even apart from Jeff Teague's up in the discussion with those guys. Like there isn't a matchup they win. There isn't a matchup they win. You get Kyle Korver on the wing.
I think for Brooklyn part of the problem comes from the fact that they have just jammed the roster up with big money deals that they can't shift. It's a miracle they got into the playoffs.
It's a terrible, but it's a terrible constructed roster. But I think that
I don't think they've got enough. I think Thaddeus Young makes it a bit more
I think
interesting.
there's going to be one good because
No, it doesn't. Thaddeus Young gives you a guy who doesn't know what position he plays for one.
He's a stretch.
he's a stretch four.
No, he can shoot, so he's not a stretch four. He's an impact guy off the bench who you can throw the ball up there and he'll catch it and he'll dunk it, but that's about it. I mean, he's got a 31 or so, maybe 32% 3-point shooter for his career.
Maybe that just reflects the sad reality. I think Thaddeus Young is the most exciting thing about the Brooklyn Nets.
No, Jared Jack's there.
Jared Jack's good at
Jared Jack's not good on the Nets because the Nets are not good.
No, but that's...
Aaron Hollins is a coach. Is that am I right?
Yes, you're right. But Lionel's has done good things for big guys. I think Brook Lopez has been playing really good recently. I think he's going to have a game where he plays really well. There's Drew Johnson, Darren Williams. I think it's going to be one game where...
They could take
it's never going to click. It's never going to click. It's never going to click. A 20-point differential, but it's going to be one game for them.
It will never click for all those guys at the same time because they all want their shots. You get 4 guys in that team that all want their shots and all want to be the star man. And for that reason, I tell you right now, particularly when you've got Brook Lopez and fucking Mason Plumlee, who are the 2 best players in that team by a country mile. And they play the same position.
Is it Mason?
Can I just say, see, since 2004, I've been saying that Darren Williams is not a good point guard. I've been saying that for years.
Well, Darren Williams was a good point guard.
No, he's never.
He was a very good pick and roll point guard or pick and pop.
He was never in the same. He was never in the Team USA conversation for me where he's backing up Chris Paul. Oh God! Like I said that every time the Olympics came around. What's Darren Williams doing that?
He scored taller than Chris Paul and all NBA.
I'm just saying, me and you were at the game. We won the most valuable player of the game.
That's right. That was the
GB freeze. We were at that game, so he does have talent. I'm not going to argue that he doesn't.
I watched him live.
He's just a fat guy though. Sorry.
He's a fat guy with a spraying haircut.
No, but
he's a sprayed on haircut.
That's the issue they're going to have is because Darren Williams has put on the beef. Darren Williams is going to be playing against Jeff Teague, who is, by the way, we're talking about handles. Jeff Teague's got handles. Not only that, Jeff Teague's very, very quick.
Keep him on ice skates. He's going to be.
Darren Williams is going to be doing that whole. He's going to be like a Russian dancer, honestly.
The flavor like a Morris dancer.
Aye.
I think we're all pretty much in agreement. Atlanta's going to take this one. 3 sweeps and 1-4-1, and pretty much quite good today. So sweep to Atlanta.
I will say though, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see how if Atlanta do sweep this because they've got a lot to prove in the playoffs. And the Budenholzer way of doing things, I want to see if this is staying in the playoffs.
He's slowing it down, no man. We spoke about this. Like, he's slowed down. The minute you get to the playoffs, everything slows down. So you get a team like Atlanta, the Spurs, Golden State. These teams can slow it down.
Yeah.
That's how they're going to succeed.
We'll take a quick break before we move on to the West. Thanks for listening to that, and we'll be back in just a second with the Western Conference.